Hello and thank you for joining the Friday's edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, former Edo Governor Adams Oshiomhole attacks IBB over call for restructuring of Nigeria. Anxiety reigns as Niger Delta Avengers refuse to disarm despite ceasefire. And later on the program, Kogi indigenes in Lagos support Dino Melaye's recall. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Shola Ojewusi, and Afolabi Akinola. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Nigerians might not agree on many issues, but they sure agree on some issues. Issues so important, so special, and upon which the future depends. In the last decade, they have been quite united in the call for the restructuring of their country. For years, there were silent agitations about the inequitable distribution of wealth and governmental power. Many leaders have spoken openly about it, but recent quick notices across the country have successfully amplified the impending doom. Last Monday, former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida added his voice to calls for the dismantling of the current Nigeria structures. While many had applauded his line of reasoning, the former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshiomhole, disagrees. He believes the former military dictator owes Nigerians an apology for plunging the country into the mess it finds itself today. He blames the elder statesman for inflicting serious injuries on the nation's economy and creating a dynasty of confusion that Nigeria is struggling to resolve. Is this time to play the blame game, gentlemen? Well, we thought when IBB made this call and it spoke about state police and a well-written, articulated points about this restructuring thing, and we're saying, okay, let's leave the messenger and let's look at the message. But Adams Oshiomhole, coming to defense of the his party, coming defense and even saying that, Mr. Man, you don't have the locus, to now be preaching restructuring when you are one of the architects of where Nigeria is today. What do you read between the lines?
Oshiomhole was represented by Isa Aremu, the Lorraine-born textile worker. Remember?
Intelligence.
Remember, Oshiomhole too was a textile worker. He was the PRO of the Arewa Textiles Mill in Kaduna. From there, he became vice president of the NLC, and became president of the NLC, and became governor of Edo State. He was a very good friend of Obasanjo during Obasanjo's presidency. He even famously attended a national convention of the People's Democratic Party. He was filmed in Abuja, on the stadium in Abuja, while he was president of NLC. Obasanjo made him chairman of the National Social Insurance Trust Fund. That's a very good friend of Obasanjo, who was a labor leader. Now, I think that Isa Aremu's criticism of IBB makes absolutely no sense. Because if you want to criticize a man for the way he ran the country, you can criticize him for the way he ran the country many years ago. But it is wrong to not acknowledge the fact that in suggesting that we should restructure, that he had done something right. Let me tell you, when you travel across Nigeria and ask people questions, everyone recognizes the fact that we need to restructure. And when I listen to the speech that the Lorraine textile worker made, I saw clearly that even in criticizing IBB, he was busy contradicting himself. Because he was saying, oh, let us place greater accent on residency and not citizenship. How do you do that without restructuring? He was saying that let us provide light rather than darkness. And people are saying that one way of making this happen is to allow states to generate their own electricity and provide their people what they've generated. States that have the capacity to generate electricity should be allowed to generate electricity and not be subjected to the idea of putting what has been generated in the national grid, where the transmission company of Nigeria will now determine what is fed the state. That's what happened in Kwara. His home state, Isaremun's home state. That's what happened in Kwara. Bukola Saraki completed a power plant that was abandoned, but was compelled after generating electricity, feed it to the national grid and distribute to people in Kishi and some communities in northern Oyo North and other places before Kwara will get what is due to them. And it was the funds, Kwara State funds, that was used to build that power plant. Any system that encourages that should not be promoted or supported by any wise Nigerian. And that's why people are saying, let's restructure. We cannot restructure without looking at that constitution and taking away some of those things that have been placed on the exclusive list, taking them those items away and asking ourselves, how do we progress by, how do we then progress afterwards? These are the issues. By just anybody can take on a lot of the people who abuse IBB and other people. If we give them the chance to serve, they will be monumental failures. And whether we like it or not, in terms of infrastructure, because we are not just journalists, we are historians. In terms of infrastructure, I'm yet to see that Nigerian leader of the modern era that has done better than IBB. Because we are in Lagos here, we are enjoying the third mainland bridge. Is it not his work? Go to Abuja. When IBB was building Abuja, they said, oh, these roads are too expensive. But I can tell you the major roads in Abuja, for all the years that those roads have been there, there has not been a single pothole on those major roads in Abuja. I stand to be corrected. So a Nigerian cannot suggest that we should restructure, whether it's been converted or not. In any case, it's not even a crime to be converted. So I don't understand what Cesar Remo is saying by saying, oh, he's converted. So what is wrong in being converted? At some point in our lives, people talk to us about some ideas, and we agree with them. So it is not a crime to be converted. So if IBB has been converted to a believer in restructuring, all we need to do is forgive him for the years that he didn't support restructuring. Because whether we like it or not, restructuring is the right way to go for our nation. Not just to make us more united as a people, but to make growth and development possible in our land. And I disagree seriously with the man who represented Oshomole. I don't want to say, because let me tell you, if Oshomole was at that event, he would not say all that. I'm telling you, I'm very certain.
I was wondering, Afolabi?
I think this is a very serious matter that calls for caution. Because we are journalists and we are also historians, as they have said. There must be a link between the messenger and the message. Because even as a good student of history, we know that what the former president did to Nigerian democracy was a serious coup. Take, for instance, if he's suggesting or advising that at least we should restructure, which has been a very clear argument of so many people. If June 12 election was not annulled, today, I'm not sure we'll even be talking about restructuring. Or take, for instance, if Abacha did not die.
Talk about it. Some of those issues, some of those issues are about the constitution. Hold on. When we talk about restructuring, it's not simply uniting Nigerians. We are talking about some items in our constitution that must go away before we can make progress. So restructuring is not simply making Nigerians united. Yes, June 12 united us. And it was wrong of that man to have annulled June 12th. That is not the thing, what we are talking about.
So does that mean he cannot suggest
During
anything?
the Civil War, you see, Nigerians are funny people. During the Civil War, Murtala Mohammed stole so much money. What he stole, he built houses in Kano and other places. There's a place called Galadima Road in Kano. On both sides of the road were houses that Murtala built. But what did he do when he became head of state? He surrendered everything every property that he acquired illegally, he surrendered to the Nigerian government. Those houses are there. I'm mentioning where those houses are. So you will now continue to blame him for what he did during the Civil War, even after he became a changed man. Is he right?
The issue is that we must be careful again, as I have said, because Nigerians and history are also watching this program live. So
what is wrong about that?
If anybody is even talking about apology, I think it should be Nigerians, because he has done more injustice to the democratic rule that we are even talking about in Nigeria. IBB does not have the moral strength, because if you are talking about restructuring, it's an argument that must be canvassed cleverly. It doesn't have the moral strength to even talk about it at all.
So he has nothing to offer.
He has no moral. I'm using the word moral. He has a right to speak. Nothing to offer. But as far as this issue is, it's a volatile issue. And again, mind you, the present president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is ill presently, remember, it was even the same IBB that, overthrew the government of this, because you must understand the messenger, the timing of the messenger.
Did Buhari not overthrow Shagari? Did Buhari not overthrow Shagari?
So if he's saying that, the present administration will be looking at it from a very different angle entirely.
Okay, shall I make your point?
It's an interesting point, but I want to say something. I think I'm going to toe the line of the first speaker in the sense of, when you say restructuring, it's right by saying it's not just about bringing the people together. It's a matter of the future. And when we're talking of the future, a number of things come to play. Everything about Nigeria needs to be looked into. The question of unity, the question of our economy, the question of the running of the states, the question of our federalism, we still need to go back and see a way of trying to debunk what Awo said in the 1940s, that Nigeria is just a kind of geographical. There is a lot to do. But I will go back. I think sometimes progressives, in their passion, can turn reactionary. And that's what I saw about what happened. But I still want to excuse Oshiomhole that perhaps what happened during what was said out of context. Let me take you to what happened in South Africa. Imagine what has been done to the people. What apartheid did to the majority of people in South Africa. When Mandela came, what happened? People were expecting him to go the vengeance way, to start dealing with all those enemies, those who jailed him, those who did, what has been done in Nigeria that can be worse than what was done in South Africa. This is not the time we should start looking at what IBB did or did badly. Yeah, the man had his bad days. If he's not going to apologize for what he did to Nigeria, it is left to him. It is left to his conscience. He knows what he did. He knows what he caused. He knows what he did that led to the death of so many people. It is his conscience. And it should allow that conscience to be with him till he dies. But if it comes to say that Nigeria needs to restructure, nobody should dispute that. Because that is the thing that is on the ground now. And, it's not a question. It has become a matter of what is pragmatic. Nobody can go against this.
A moving train.
Let me tell you, IBB, imagine that thing happened. IBB said it, Atiku said it at the same time. If you look at the history of IBB and Atiku, they're not the best of friends. I remember when I was in Yola, Atiku was trying to contest, I think 92, 93, to be governor of Adamawa State. IBB banned all of them. He banned Atiku, banned Balata Kaya, banned all of those guys. So Atiku was running to become the governor. He had done a lot, put a lot of money. He had the best campaign. Everybody was expecting Atiku, and the man just stopped. So they have, but when perceived enemies come together with one voice to say enough is enough, we want restructuring. They have seen the handwriting on the wall. The North has been the main opponent of this issue of restructuring. Perhaps they were afraid. They think maybe if we allow this, then we'll lose. But it has gone beyond that. It's not a matter of the North against the South.
No. Okay.
It's the progress of the country we're talking about.
But we have to quickly wrap up on this. Gentlemen, so what we're saying now, are we agreeing? Are we saying there's a need to restructure, but the message is coming from the most unlikely quarters?
It doesn't matter where the message is coming from. The current acting president on this program, when we thought that he didn't, when he was misquoted, and we were attacking him on this program, he called in to say, no, I've always been a proponent of restructuring. There's nothing, there's no big deal about this restructuring.
That I've even had to go to courts.
He said the restructuring matter is volatile. There's absolutely nothing volatile about it. People must come together as one nation and talk about the basis of their togetherness. The people of Rwanda, they have done it. They are a better country now. Rwanda is an African success story today.
What happened
reference
was
points.
terrible.
They came down. They came together to talk about the basis of their togetherness. Today in Rwanda, it is a crime to say, this is my tribe. You must say, I am Rwandan. And everybody is happy the government is on the right path.
Okay, that was when the acting president,
yes, that was when he called us
into journalist hangout.
And not only on that day, if you remember,
yes,
on that day,
he spoke for like 45 minutes.
On that day,
yes,
on that day, he spoke at length about why. He said he even went as far as Supreme Court,
yes,
to fight for restructuring.
Yes, when he was the Attorney General.
When he was Attorney General. So
Lagos State.
It is not like, oh, people don't want restructuring and all that, or this government is against restructuring.
That
if the person who is the acting president today can come on air on a public
journalist
and say, I am a proponent for restructuring, I, Babajide Otoju, can never see anything wrong with restructuring at this stage. IBB, whatever he sins, we have attacked him in the past. But when a man says something that other Nigerians want, I cannot go against the grain and begin to attack him.
Okay.
All we can do is encourage other influential people in the North to dispel the fear that restructuring will not favor the North.
Okay.
My take on this is that we all stand before history, like I've always been saying. The issue on ground is that some people have offended history, and history will be very vindictive for life. I agree completely that a nation should be restructured. We have a reason and right to even sit together and plan ahead. But it should be cleverly planned. Angels will not even come to even restructure Nigeria for us. The two classes that exist in Nigeria is the elites and the Nigerian masses. Even if you restructure today, those who matters, those who determines the fate of majority of Nigerians will still be the head of all these regions, either you like it or not. So, but what we should do is this. The messenger and the message, in this case of IBB, history, you can't win a war against it. History will forever remain fictive. Because as I speak to you,
the messenger and the message.
Yes, as I speak to you, Journalists Hangout, fantastic program, is more or less the voice of the Nigerian Union of Journalists. During the struggle for June 12 election, most journalists even lost their lives. Most people lost their lives. A lot of people lost their lives. Blood by this same individual.
You are saying majority of us.
By this same individual who is clamoring for restructuring. So I think.
Okay, all right. We really have to leave this. Moving on now. In recent times, Nigeria has enjoyed a pleasing quietude in the Niger Delta region. Now, militants who had earlier gone for the jugular of the country's economy have demonstrated what critics call rare understanding. With this understanding, Nigeria's oil production has started to recover. Earlier this month, a shadowy militant group rose from the ashes and declared war on Nigeria's oil installations again. It said, starting today, the 30th of June 2017, it will start the war. But on Thursday, the militant group made a stunning U-turn when it said the intervention of the leaders of the region suggested that their agitations might eventually be resolved by the federal government. Unfortunately, the group said until its demands are met, it will not disarm or dismantle already established apparatus it had set up to cripple Nigeria's economy again. When will the genuine demands of this group be met? Babajide, the acting president has done a wonderful job, a good job in trying to, reach out to these people, because we had it so bad in 2015 when they went to the Falcados in Delta State, when they went to a major installation and oil production dropped and even gas supply dropped. So right now, these people are saying that, okay, they've reached out to them again and their leaders have reached out to them, but they are not ready to disarm. It's just like a time bomb ticking.
Yeah, and what this means is that when you sit with a people and you are told that, look, we are going to make peace, but we also want you to do certain things. You do A to do B. You must live up to your own side of the bargain. If you do not do that, then at any point, the honeymoon could end. So in this case, there are so many things that these people are angry about. For example, oil companies have been told that they should give contracts to even local contractors. Show that they actually believe in the local content policy. But you'll find that some of those contracts that local contractors can handle are still given to foreign companies and all that. There is a reluctance to also employ even residents or indigenes of oil-bearing communities. So a lot of these oil companies are guilty of this. So what these guys are saying is, look, if we've agreed that you will do this, you are going to start projects in the Niger Delta area, projects that will make people happy, that people will know that, okay, beyond just taking oil from our communities, you are giving back to those communities. But as we speak, if you were in Niger Delta, and I know that you've gone to those places several times, terrible. We've been taking oil from Bonny. We've been taking oil from Bonny for 61 years. There's no road that leads to Bonny. No road. We've been taking oil from Brass. There is no road that leads to Brass.
What of Oloibri?
You see, the people in those communities, yes, the people in those communities still live in squalor. No government presence. Anybody who finds himself in this kind of situation, his blood will boil. Let's tell ourselves the truth. So, and those guys, in my view, have demonstrated that they are gentlemen, in inverted commas, by refusing to bomb, because the military couldn't have stopped them from bombing. At all. We sent troops there. Some of those troops were even sinking. In the creeks, it was these same boys that saved the lives of some of our soldiers who couldn't swim. So military intervention cannot solve the problem, cannot stop people bombing oil pipelines. Pipelines crisscrossing and even passing through the backyards of these people. So now that they've stopped bombing and we are making good money, enough money that is helping us to shore up our foreign reserves, I think that government should begin to take some actions to begin to set up projects in those areas. Let people see clearly that, look, the Niger Delta has not been abandoned. That this government, even though the Niger Deltans didn't vote for President Buhari, Buhari is the father of all. And he will decide to do what is right for every segment of the Nigerian society. So by the time they begin to see these projects, and you show clearly, I'm happy. I'm happy with the government. I'm happy with the decision of the government to overrule the Minister of Transport over the Baramotu, the University.
Baramotu. Yes.
I'm happy that this government took that decision. It's a good decision. There are more than 10 flow stations in Baramotu alone. Baramotu has given so much to Nigeria. If they ask for just one university, nobody in its right senses,
yes.
should deny them. Now the government has taken that decision. The government has also increased the funding for the amnesty program. All of these are good things that that the acting president and the government generally has done. So, but things must continue. Well, if we continue and they see those projects, those boys will feel wanted. The militants will feel wanted, and even the efforts of Clark and others, you know, will begin to bear fruits.
Yes. Okay, Afo.
I think this is a very touching moment in the history of Nigeria. And any right-thinking person will be very sympathetic to that region. I'm an advocate of the late Ken Saro-Wiwa. Some of us, when we were growing up, we were familiar with some of his agitation and books. I even read his novel, A Forest of Flowers. This is a man who did so much. Bassey and Company. It was, in fact, he was a fantastic writer. He brought the attention of the Ogonis and the Niger Delta to the international community.
Yes.
And he did it scholarly. He said he devoted all his intellectuals to the struggle, at least for the emancipation of this region, by ensuring that at least reasonably multinational corporations, people like, I mean, companies like Shell, who took so much from that environment, at least should at least demonstrate a reasonable level of corporate social responsibility. Ken Saro-Wiwa did so much for that region. And sadly, if you look at it clearly, Nigeria was suspended from the Commonwealth of Nations when this guy were hanged during Abacha regime. I think that was in 1995. He were hanged in Port Harcourt. It included Dr. Kilbell. So much has been exhausted in the struggle of the Niger Delta. So my take on this is fine, as my senior colleague has said, that at least we must at least listen to this kind of a region that I mean, whose resources determines the corporate existence of Nigeria.
Honestly,
deserves
as long as
to be
oil.
to deserve to be
as long as
look
that is
into.
still the.
And like I said on the other day when I came to this program, there is no definition of patriotism in destruction. Any right, if Ken did it with his pen until tomorrow. He said you can only kill the messenger, but the message remains. These are the kind of ideas we are talking about. The military, if I fought a military to a stand, if I was writing articles, even in the prison, he demonstrated high level of intellectual standard.
Shola?
Yeah. So I will also love to encourage the acting president to continue the way he's been doing. I mean, the strategy has been working, and I think something should be done. But like Jide said, if there
a lot of people will say it's time to match words with action.
That's what I was going to.
We've been doing a lot of.
If there were promises made, I mean, you know, these guys are humans. You see, when we were in Abuja, there were some events that were done in Abuja, and these Niger Deltans came and saw the kind of things that the Niger Delta money has been spent.
$1 million man match.
And then they go back home and see the kind of squalor and the destruction done, you know. Then you can understand the kind of agitation that can come from that. So it's a matter of justice. We're not talking of maybe who is right, but if you're talking of justice in Nigeria, something must be done about the Niger Delta problem. But let's even look at it beyond that. A friend of mine, who I can also call maybe a mild militant from the Niger Delta, raised an issue this morning. And he said, you're asking us to disarm. Have you tried to disarm the Fulani who are carrying guns all about? Have you tried to stop them? Have you done anything? Is there a kind of program put in place to make sure these people, because if it comes, the problem starts, we disarm and we are defenseless, and these people descend on us. What do we have to decide? That's another dimension to this issue that the government must look at. There must be a kind of assurance from the government that while you are trying to get these people to toe the line of peace, other regions should also be, there should be something seen by these people too, that it's not a one-sided thing. Okay. I think it's very important. Yes.
Okay, Babajide, when you look at the level of environmental degradation that has done it's very difficult to build, to erect any structure. Yes. You erect it at multiple.
Yes.
It's very difficult to fish. It's very difficult to find, drinkable water. There was a time we went to Bayelsa, and even what's the name of this? Yenagoa, at the state capital, the hotel I stayed, the water that was coming out from the hotel, oil. I was like, this in Yenagoa.
So how will people get angry?
You see, some of the problem of even the very nature of their terrain makes it extremely difficult to build roads, to put infrastructure in those places without solid federal government support. For example, there is a plan to do a road from Age to Ekremo. The sand filling alone will cost more than 100 billion. Yes. So
Serious.
where will
the state governor,
find that kind of money?
The federal government should come in.
Billion.
That's the problem. Let me tell you,
the federal
that is why
government's money.
these people are angry.
Yes.
And they had their son. They
Was
had their son
president.
as president for about 6 years. And all of that time, he didn't do anything about the fact that for Kados, a major terminal, there's no road that leads to it. Even when you go to Ondo State, you see the best roads until you get to the oil producing areas. Abi, am I lying? People are watching me. Until you get to when you get to the oil producing areas, your adventure with bad roads will end. It should not be happening. Burutu, the oldest port in Nigeria, nothing is happening there. People are seeing these things, and you expect them to be happy. All those major terminals from where we've been exporting oil, making so much money, no roads, no roads. There is no way the people can be happy when they don't have access to. Because look,
electricity is far from them, so far from them, people are living. Defecating.
Bayelsa, for example, Bayelsa is the last point of Nigeria. From Bayelsa, you need just 30 minutes. You are in Equatorial Guinea. You are in Equatorial Guinea. Or just 30 minutes. I can tell you that if the federal government will focus on that area, we will make much more money than we are even making. Because there's a lot of sabotage going on. Sabotage caused by anger with the system. But we need to give people a sense of belonging. We need to really make people happy, make them belong. And it is a general thing that must be done. As we said sometime here last week, echoing what our acting president said. Everybody, every Nigerian,
we are all marginalized.
Thinks is marginalized.
In one way or the other.
The northern minority thinks is marginalized along the line of religion and all that. The northerners, the Hausa Fulani, think they are marginalized economically. And they say it. So, but we must just come together as one nation.
Yes.
When we come together as one nation, one indivisible Nigeria, honestly, there is no height that we cannot reach. Because when you recall that during the First Republic, we were on the same level with Singapore, with Brazil, but all of these countries have left us behind. We were doing well before. South Korea and Ghana became independent nations the same year. But you can see that South Korea has since left Ghana behind.
Far.
So when we come together, when we are united, we see ourselves as one, we will make progress. And that's why I made the example of Rwanda earlier. A united Rwanda, where people have stopped killing one another, is one of the success stories of Africa today. Their economy is growing. It's growing in a manner that impresses people. So let us address some of these issues where we need to give them roads and water. We must do our best to do that. Honestly, when we do that, all of these destruction of properties, agitations will just fizzle out.
All right, let me quickly take this breather. When we come back, we'll discuss more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Okay, gentlemen, so we have to go on Niger Delta. A lot of people are even saying that, resource control should be part of you know, the talk we're going to talk when we're talking about restructuring, because I can't continue to give so much to Nigeria. A region cannot continue to give so much. At the end of the day, the region is underdeveloped, backward, no water to drink, no roads, nothing.
One thing I want to put clearly here is that it would be wrong for you to have an enemy from within. Because you remember that for a resource control issue and agitation in Niger Delta to be resolved, Ministry of Niger Delta was created. Millions of naira also went to that ministry. Remember when Ibori came,
make the impact.
People were jubilating. So there are some leaders in the Niger Delta. Do they really even believe in the emancipation of the masses in that environment? So we must begin to look at restructuring from the angle of class. We need to restructure our mind, the mindset of the class against class, class in Nigeria. You discover that the struggle for the emancipation of Niger Delta, the struggle for resource control, a lot of things has been done on it. Okay. Where were the money? Where were the resources?
Your final take on this?
So, well, the Niger Delta, as of now, because it's like what is making Nigeria economically strong comes for now from that place. And you know, if you have a place where your money is coming from, you have to take care of that place. Give it the proper, whatever you can do to make sure that that place is healthy and peaceful. So we have to put everything on the table to be able to make sure that the Niger Delta problem is solved once and for all.
Ali is calling us from the United Kingdom. Thank you for calling us, Ali.
Yes, sir. How are you doing, sir?
Very well, thank you.
I would like to make a contribution to the topic that you people are talking about.
Yes, Ali, you're on air already.
Good. I just want to make a quick contribution both in regards to restructuring and the Niger Delta issue. I can see from the argument of
my colleague here,
that we are still talking about restructuring. Talking about Niger Delta is still talking about restructuring. I wanted to take a step backward, come back to Europe and see an all-developed nations. There is the only way government can get closer to people is through local government. If local government are well equipped, if local government receive all what it takes for them to receive from the federal government, the resources the federal government have are in control of. If all the building of infrastructure is taken from the federal government and the state government and given to the local government, because in Europe here, development and building of infrastructure is by the local government, because only the local government are closer to the people, and that is the only way the local government can get closer to the people, to the electorate. Without that, there is no way we can be able to eradicate or remove in totality the wicked people or wicked.
Thank you, Ali. Ali, you made your point before your emotions will take over. Now, moving on now. Right now, Senator Dino Melaye is probably tucked between the world of fear of suffering a historic political defeat when the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, begins the recall process, or an absolute optimism to remain in the Senate. As July the 3rd draws nearer, the senators' woes seem to be compounded by the day. On Wednesday, Kogi State indigenes in Lagos State, under the umbrella of Okun Indigenous Group and Township Associations, expressed support for his recall. They said Senator Melaye is a bad ambassador of their tribe and feel disappointed by his conduct. But as the imbroglio continues, the Kogi chapter of the All Progressive Congress declared an unflinching support for him for standing against what is called injustice in the states. Are Nigerians about to see an epic battle between the people and the party? Now, Jiri, looking at it from the point of view that what is happening the All Progressive Congress in Kogi State is not supporting Governor Yaya Bello. That's an established fact.
Yes.
And right now, they've given their support to Dino Melaye. What are the intrigues around here?
Now, who has validated that statement before we start believing that it is from the party? Who has validated it? Because we had that, oh, David Jemi Benwon, Rufus Oshanokme, Bayo Ojo, and all of these people have condemned the attempt to recall Dino. It turned out that it was forgery of the highest level by Dino and his people. Those people have come out to say, look, we knew nothing about this. And people are coming out, even groups that we were told opposed his recall are coming out to say it's a lie. So it's just propaganda that we are seeing from a thoroughly desperate senator. Nature has a way of taking care of aberrations. Dino Melaye, as a senator of the Federal Republic, is an aberration from Kogi, and nature is about to resolve that aberration. He nominated the SSG in the state. He was chummy with the governor. He was the one who betrayed Faleke on the day the governorship candidate of the APC died. He was the one who betrayed him. Today, it has pleased God to create rancor between him and his friend. Today he calls the governor Olodo. Today he says that the governor has been taking crack, cheap crack and all that. That is his problem. But attempts by Dino to make what is happening, to personalize what is happening and see it as a war being fought by the governor against Okun people has failed. I've not seen any prominent Okun man who has come out on his own, whether it is Jemi Benwon or who has come out to say, I'm against the attempt to recall this man. If you've seen any, please point out to me. Beyond the forgery that has taken place of adding people's names, innocent people, to a shitty press statement, nothing has happened. The people came out, you've seen videos. I think even on nice.com, you see videos of people coming out to vote, even in his hometown.
I'm sure my producer will be
people came out.
that.
People came out to vote against him. The truth is, he has been an embarrassment to the Okun people. And these are people that he had abandoned since he got into that Senate. He has not held a single town hall meeting. We see Tinubu's wife hold town hall meetings here. You've attended plenty of those town hall meetings. He has not held a single town hall meeting in any part of Kogi State. He doesn't have a constituency office. Even kid politicians who just got into the National Assembly, many of them have constituency offices. This is a man who has been in the National Assembly for some time. He was there in the House of Reps, during which they tore his dress, and that picture remains eternal shame to people of Kogi State. That picture is still on the internet. Now, he doesn't have any constituency office. Where do the people, how do the people see him and interface with him and tell him this is our problems, when you do not have access to him? But now that he's in trouble, he's running from pillar to post. He has stopped shooting videos where he will be dancing like a comedian. Somebody who should be hanging out with Agodai and all these other comedians. You know, he has stopped. Because when you see your own representative turn himself to a laughing stock in the corridors of power, he spent 9 years in the university. How do you spend all of those years in the university and you came away only with a third class and you are jubilating about it? You even wore your academic gown to the Senate. You will never know the extent of the shame that this guy brings upon the people of Kogi State. And that's why they are rejecting him.
Okay, I have Eruse from London on the line. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Eruse.
All right. I just want to say a big evening to Babajide.
I agree.
Other members of the panel, including your Honorable Moderator.
Thank you, sir.
I agree
From your
too.
discussion this evening, this is the first time I have seen 3 or 4 Nigerians sitting on the table discussing an issue, and they all agreeing to the point and speaking genuinely from their mind, the truth and the whole truth. I want to say again, good evening and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the expressions I want to tell you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for making this short and brief. Afu.
I think history is, life itself is a teacher. This is a lesson for most politicians. I'm sure today, Dino Mela, he never knew that what is happening to him today will, of course, become a national issue. If you are a politician and you never, for one day, believe in the sanctity of the electoral box, you believe that either you like it or not, I will always win an election. The people that voted for me do not really matter. This is a lesson for all of them today. That power, sovereignty, which clearly states that power belongs to the people, is playing out in Kogi State. If Dino Melaye had been democratic and fair enough to at least be a friend of his constituency, in times of war and challenges like this,
They'll stand by him.
they will stand by him. But for you to, of course, abandon your people when it mattered most, and you are now coming back to them now at least to rescue you, it will be very, in fact, that will be very antithetical to common sense for anybody to even engage in such. But one thing remains clear, and which I will not want to be, and play politics with it. When 2 elephants are fighting, the grasses is what I'm concerned about. I'm not, what I'm in support of in Kogi State is...
Dino is not an elephant.
what I'm in support of in Kogi State is that people in Kogi State, are civil servants in Kogi State, happy with the entire scenario in Kogi State? Are salaries being paid? Because if you are talking about Dino Melaye is representing some constituency in Kogi State. He's not a governor of Kogi State. The issue of governance is not a business of one person. Are Kogi people, are they enjoying dividend of democracy in Nigeria today?
The matter on hand is Dino. And Dino, by now, should have known that sometimes you have to, if you are a Democrat, you have to, know the nitty-gritties of what democracy is.
At least.
Where, if democracy is the government of the people, and you look down on the people, there is a word that is coming into the democratic parlance in Nigeria now, and that is recompense. The time will come when you have to pay back. And I think that time has come. I don't know what the force is about. This is a legal thing now. Dino, rather than be making noise or, gallivanting about, should go to court. And let him wait and let the matter take its course. The people have said something. If he has a defense against that, then let him do it. All these things, I think, is just not necessary. If the people want him back, there is nothing they can do about it. But it's a lesson for us. If you have the opportunity to use it rightly, it's not about hooliganism. You go to the Senate, you start behaving as if it's the end of the world. People are watching. Nigerians are not the Nigerians of the past. You may think they don't know, but when they are really touched, they will show you. And I think that's what is happening. Whether anybody is trying to instigate people or not is not the issue now.
Yes.
If you see the way the process was done, it shows that there is a process. It's even an opportunity for us. It's an opportunity for us to be able to, it's part of what we're talking about, the resilience of our democracy. All the angles should be looked into. And if it works that way, that's the way it should go.
I think again, part of our in our amendments, if we want to amend our electoral laws or the constitution, I think they should just make this easier. They should make this process easier than what we have now, so that it's not just.
There are so many people.
It's not just 4 years.
I know,
and I think somebody from my constituency.
Yes, people see this as a cumbersome process. They design it in such a way as to make it extremely difficult to recall people. But when the people are against you,
it's clear.
And even the power people are against you, because honestly, I don't know any power block that beyond Bukola Saraki that it functions for like a bodyguard. I do not know any group that Dino has not offended. Is it Tinubu that has not offended? Is it Tinubu's wife that has not offended? Is it the party leaders that he has not abused? Is it the presidency that he has not insulted? Sometimes even openly lying against them on the floor of the Senate. So who is going to rescue you? Who controls the INEC in the real sense of the word? Till today, it's still the president that nominates INEC chairman. So when you saw the way Obasanjo used Maurice Iwu and the rest of them, you know. So when you have this kind of problem, and you have burnt your bridges, you have set ablaze your own hazes. So how are you going to?
I think he's seeking refuge in the courts.
No, but INEC has told him that if he were a student of history, he will see that everybody who tried to use the courts to stop INEC recall process failed. So let him read his history books. He will see that they failed. So the recall process must go on. Test your popularity. You see, rather than dissipate energy shooting nonsensical videos, he should go and test his popularity. Let us see.
I think I'm even happy with
I have George. Okay. George is calling us from Lagos.
Yeah, good evening, Jerry Sangat.
Good evening, George. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to start from the restructuring down to Tinubu. Actually, see, restructuring of this country is a very good idea. But let's ask ourselves: is it not the same people that we have that we are still going to have? The actual problem is let's restructure our minds. Let me give you an example. I'm from Enugu State. I'm from Ike-Kurimadu's senatorial district.
Okay, in Enugu.
This man has been there for the past. I'm from an area local government. This man has been there since 2003. But what can he come out and tell me today he has done for the people over there? Instead, what he's doing is, you are my party member, or I know you. His brother is even a national, one of the representatives in the National Assembly. The chairman of the meeting, he's still the one.
Thank you, George. Thank you for your contribution, Judge.
Restructuring goes beyond that.
And I think, as we were saying, if Kogi people are able to set this brilliant democratic precedent,
honestly,
it will help all Nigerians in various states.
It will put them on the politicians.
I was talking about his own representative.
Yes, I know a representative because you know I've never seen this guy around our constituency. He was voted, elected into the House of Reps under the PDP in Lagos State. I have to say this, and is not nowhere to be found around us. He has been an Abuja man. I went to his Facebook page. I said, we have not, what all these things you are doing, what is the need for our constituency? He said he's now a Nigerian so that's his constituency. And then you know what he did? He blocked me. I can no longer comment.
Because you provoked
now,
so if I have the opportunity to recall such a person, I will start.
I will be so happy if they are able to succeed in Kogi State on this.
Honestly,
I'm from Osun State, from Ipetu Jesha in Osun State. I'll be so happy to engage in the same process because the day of reckoning.
You want to recall Gideon Morale?
The day of reckoning is now knocking. The day of reckoning is now knocking. You understand what I'm saying? So the day of reckoning is now knocking. So what I'm saying is
the likes of Ashalu will not like it.
What I'm saying is, by and large, dividends of democracy must be delivered to the doorstep of the commoners. Any good player in life must be sure, or any good coach in life must be very sure of defense.
That's true.
Dino Milai has lost democratic defense. At least the sovereignty
will never go against.
No, you understand?
People. No. You know, he lost his position as chairman of the House Senate Committee on Rules.
Yes.
He lost it because he chose not to leak Bukola's house.
Yes.
You know? So today, people know who their true heroes are.
Yes.
Jide did the right thing when he needed to side with his people. Side with his people, side with his party. He did it, and he was removed as chairman.
It cost him his job.
It cost him his chairmanship.
Job.
Yeah, well, of course, but a very influential position whereby when there's an argument on this floor of the Senate, they go to him to say, what does our rule say? And he will be the one that they go to. So he lost that position, but the people know that he has represented them well. And he's been doing that since his days here in Lagos as majority leader of Alliance Democracy.
Yes, Alliance of Democracy.
So Jide has done well. Anybody who wants to recall someone like that has a tough battle on his hands. The person being recalled, Jide Omowurare and Senator Dino Melaye should never be mentioned in the same sentence.
No.
The people who want to recall this fellow now know that he has been an embarrassment to them, an embarrassment that the whole world can see, typified by the videos of him dancing unprovoked. In the case of Omowurare, he has never put himself to shame in that manner. He has never put his people to shame in that manner, and that's why it's going to be difficult to recall people like that. It's the people who are not popular that we are recalling.
Okay. It will have been a different case today.
Okwe is thanking you. Okwe Ashalu is thanking you.
Yes, I'm thanking.
It will have been a different case today. If Dilo Melaye believes that dividend of democracy should be prioritized as a legislator.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we have to go, Shola.
All I can just say is Dino should be a lesson to all those other people in the Senate that there should be some level of dignity in the Senate.
Shola Jose, I want to thank you.
Thank
And
you so much.
Afolabi Akinola, I want to thank you. And Babajide Otitoju, I want to thank you. And thank God it's Friday.
Yes.
We are going
Where are you
Friday.
taking us to?
On Friday.
You can't be saying
Where are
thank
we
God it's
hanging
Friday
out?
all the time. As if you have any plan to take us.
Benusi is just at the
I've sponsored me once.
And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us next week for another interesting episode of the program. Watch the repeat broadcast tonight on DSTV 418, GoTV 45. You can also watch TBC on Journalist Hangout on YouTube. That's journalisthangout.com/TBC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. God bless Nigeria.